I got a phone call a few months ago that changed everything. Grandma had passed away. Grandpa had already been gone for a while by then, so this was it, the last of them. And in the middle of grieving her, something else landed on my plate that I wasn't ready for. Money, more of it at once than I'd ever had in my life. I told you last time I still hadn't asked what happens when everything I'd learned, the leaks, the trap, the emotional check, the belief, the awareness of the whole confusing system, finally had to work together, all at once, for something that actually mattered. I didn't get to choose the moment it got tested. It just arrived, right in the middle of the worst week I'd had in years. I want to be honest about something before I go further. I wasn't thinking about net worth or leaks or any of it in the days right after. I was thinking about her, about the last time I saw her, about a lot of things that had nothing to do with money at all. But money doesn't wait for you to be ready for it. It just shows up, sometimes at the exact moment you have the least capacity to deal with it. And I had to figure out how to hold both things at once, grief and responsibility, without dropping either one. There's a bow tie I wear in every single one of these videos. I've never told you why. I'm not going to tell you the whole story today. That one's going to take more than a few minutes, and it deserves more room than I can give it right now. But I'll tell you where it started. When I was really small, Grandma and Grandpa gave me a piggy bank. Nothing fancy, just a plain little thing with a slot in the top. And for some reason, I loved it. I used to sort my coins before I dropped them in. Pennies here, quarters there, like it actually mattered. Like I was running something important. I'd shake it just to hear how full it was getting. I was proud of that thing in a way that probably didn't make sense for a kid that age. They thought it was the sweetest thing. Grandma used to tell people about it. "He counts his coins better than grown men count their bills," she'd say, laughing. It became a little bit of a family thing, actually. That piggy bank followed me for years. That bow tie has something to do with that memory. That's all I'll say about it for now. A few weeks after the funeral, the money actually arrived. And I remember staring at that number on the screen for a long time before I did anything at all. Old me, the me from before any of this, would have done one of two things. Either freeze completely, too overwhelmed to touch it, let it just sit there untouched out of fear of getting it wrong. Or the opposite. Feel that grief so heavily that I'd want to spend some of it fast, on something, anything, just to feel like I was doing something with my hands instead of sitting in the silence. I felt both of those pulls. Genuinely, both, within the same hour. And this is where it actually surprised me. I didn't have to sit down and consciously run through 5 separate steps. It just happened, almost on its own. The first thing that came up wasn't a thought. It was a feeling. That old familiar urge to do something with the money right now, to make the ache go away for a few minutes. And I recognized it immediately, the same way I'd recognize an old friend's knock at the door. Am I solving a problem, or am I trying to change how I feel? I already knew the answer before I finished asking the question. This wasn't a decision. This was grief looking for somewhere to go. So I didn't touch anything, not yet. Then came the number itself, what I actually had now sitting there. And instead of either panicking about it or fantasizing about it, I just added it to what I already knew. My net worth. What I own, minus what I owe. The honest number I'd been quietly tracking for months. It wasn't some magic fix that changed everything. It was just new information, folded into a number I already understood. Then, underneath all of it, I noticed the old alarm start to ring. That same one from years ago. Money like this doesn't last. Don't trust it. Something's going to go wrong. And for the first time, I didn't have to fight that feeling or force it down. I just recognized it for what it was. An old fear, reacting to a new situation it didn't actually understand yet. I let it ring for a second, and then I let it pass. And somewhere in the back of my mind, quieter than all of that, was one more thing. An awareness that somewhere out there, plenty of people and institutions would be very happy to help me make a fast decision about this money. That grief is exactly the kind of moment things are built to take advantage of. The moment you're least likely to look closely. That part wasn't just a feeling. Within a week, I had more than one call and more than one email, all very warm, all very concerned about helping me make the most of what I'd inherited. And I want to be clear, I don't think any single person reaching out to me had bad intentions. But I noticed the timing. I noticed how gentle and how fast it all was, right when I was least equipped to slow down and ask real questions. A year ago, I would have taken one of those calls and just gone along with whatever sounded reasonable. because someone confident on the other end of the phone told me it was a good idea. This time, I just said I wasn't ready to make any decisions yet, and I meant it. So, I didn't let anyone rush me. Not a bank, not an advisor, not an advertisement, not even my own instinct to just get it over with. None of that took 5 separate steps. It took maybe 90 seconds, all together, almost like a single breath. That's when I understood what all of it had actually been building toward. Not 5 tools. One instinct. If that just hit you, because you've ever had to make a real decision while your heart was somewhere else entirely, hit that like button right now, because you're not alone in this, and Mo is just getting started. So once the 90 seconds passed, and I could actually think clearly, I had to decide what to actually do with the money. Not in a rush, not out of fear, just honestly. I didn't spend it. Not because spending would have been wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, and I don't want you to hear this as some lesson about restraint for its own sake. I didn't spend it because when I asked myself honestly what I actually wanted, the answer wasn't a thing. It was security. It was knowing that whatever happened next in my life, this wouldn't be the reason it fell apart. So most of it went towards strengthening my honest number, paying down what I owed, building up what I had. Quiet, unglamorous, boring decisions. The kind that don't make for exciting stories. But I let myself keep a small piece of it too. I used it to buy a tree, the kind she always loved, and I planted it in her honor. Nothing extravagant. It didn't erase anything, and it definitely didn't fix the grief. But I get to water it, watch it grow, know it's going to be there long after I am. Every time I check on it, I feel like she's still a little bit present in my life, instead of just being a name on a document. One of those choices leaves you with something that keeps growing. The other just leaves you with less money and the same emptiness you started with. I only knew how to tell them apart because of everything this season taught me the hard way. Here's what I keep coming back to though. I didn't do any of this because I suddenly became a different person. I did it because 5 separate things I learned, one leak at a time, one hard realization at a time, had finally had enough time to become one thing. A way of seeing. Not a checklist I run through. Just how I actually think now. I made a kind of promise to myself in the middle of all of it. Not some dramatic vow, just something quiet. That whatever came next, good news, bad news, more grief, more windfalls, anything at all, I wasn't going back to who I was before I started paying attention. Not because the old version of me was bad, just because I finally know how to see clearly now, and there's no version of going back to not seeing. And look, if nobody ever taught you this stuff, that's exactly why this channel exists. Hit subscribe. Because Mo figured it out, and now it's your turn. I thought that was the whole lesson. I thought once everything came together in one real moment, that was the finish line. It wasn't, because seeing clearly is one thing, but I still hadn't asked the bigger question waiting underneath all of it. Now that I actually know how to see, what happens next? Where does any of this actually take me from here? That's what I still needed to find out. Stick around, because where Mo goes next, you're not going to want to miss it.